Hello and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today I'm once again joined by my dear friend Kevin Gamble. He and I are going to be discussing a topic, and today's topic is YouTube's use of generative upscaling using AI. So basically, and this doesn't apply to everything on YouTube, it's mainly to shorts. I don't know if they're applying it to every single short in existence. I don't think that they've gotten that far with it, but people have begun to notice strange things while watching YouTube shorts. And what it is that normally when you upload a video to YouTube, it takes a while for it to render to high definition. You have your initial upload, and then it says, okay, you're all good, you're published, and then it says, okay, processing to HD. Well, apparently now, when it is processing to HD, it is using AI upscaling to achieve that, rather than using the old algorithm or the old, I'm not a computer expert by any means on this subject, but the way that they were doing it before was just kind of like the standard way of rendering something to HD. It takes time, it takes computing space, and apparently by using AI technology, AI-driven technology, it uses less computing power, it's more cost-effective, and all the other things that you would hear, about using a new technology to cut costs, cut time. And the reason why I bring it up is I've seen a number of other YouTubers talking about this topic, and so I went and did some investigating of my own, watched a few shorts that had been flagged as being like, what is going on here? And it is true, sometimes people look like their hair is made of like a Lego cap, like a Lego hair had been stuck on their head. Another big tell are glasses. If you're wearing glasses, the glasses look uncanny. The outlines are so sharp. If you're holding a guitar, the pickups look really, really, incredibly in focus and very, very sharp. Unrealistic, basically. Lots of, like if my ring would suddenly really pop and have really clear edges. And so the question is, or the debate is, should we have an option to opt into this or opt out? And apparently YouTube is just using this technology without asking anybody's permission. It's just the way that they're doing it now. I looked at some of my shorts where I'm wearing glasses, and I noticed on a couple of them the glasses do look like they are floating around. It like as if they had been photoshopped over my head, while post-production. So it creates these odd effects where it kind of begins to blur the line between, I shoot things without great cameras. I'm not going for the most amazing production techniques possible. And then all of a sudden I look at these, AI renderings of myself even, and I'm like, that just looks weird. It looks like I did something crazy in my production work, but it's all happening on YouTube's end. And I just wanted to get Kevin's opinion about that, and then I want to drop a little theory that I have after he speaks about why I think this may be happening beyond the cost-cutting measures, beyond the, trying to reduce server space and just all those things that people are saying, oh, well, this is the reason why they're doing it. So, Kevin, what's your take on this?
Well, yeah, this definitely raises a lot of issues, and I'm sure you'll be getting to some of the most important ones with what you're going to say about this, which I don't know at this point what your theory is, but there are a lot of arguments probably to be made for this that are the typical sort of pro AI arguments, like, oh, the technology's always been there. It's there. If it's not this, it's been something else that's been done to people's video and audio and things like that. And it's no different from traditional upscaling, as they called it, or the compression that occurs when you upload audio and videos. When I uploaded my recent song to Spotify, the mix sounded worse on Spotify than it does everywhere else. And is this really any different than that? And, so there are a lot of ways to sort of dismiss it, but I think you have already touched on some of the key things here, which is it's not just traditional technology. It is AI is a non-traditional technology. It is effectively it is much closer to a creative choice than just a filtering or a processing or a rendering. It is actually modifying your video in subjective ways. It's not just like cleaning up noise or scaling everything in the video consistently. It is making an imitation of an intelligent choice about what the content of your video is. And to me, that crosses the line to just the regular type of thing you would get when uploading a file to a service. Do you want to say something about that?
I do. The key word that you use there, it is the AI is making choices, and those choices are beyond the control of the programmer, and they're beyond my control as the content creator. And that is really important. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. That's instinctively what it feels like to me, and that. Applying and the results are going to be inconsistent. If you're applying a traditional sort of low tech, so to speak, upscaling algorithm, it's going to work consistently across everyone's videos. We see that in the consistency we see in everyone's videos on YouTube. But now this is going to apply different types of effectively creative choices to different content, different videos. It'll work differently with the resolution or what's happening in the video. It really changes it from a kind of a stable processing to an unstable processing. And the types of artifacts you're talking about, we haven't really seen before with YouTube. Sure, videos might look a little lower res or a little rougher, or things like that, but we're not seeing odd artifacts like that where things take on alien qualities that don't exist in reality or that contrast with other things in the video that don't possess those properties. So I think even at the level of a service or a process within a service, it's not really doing the job because it's resulting in output that is inconsistent and subjective and not standardized at all. So those are the two things that really kind of immediately leapt out to me with this concept is it's kind of having non-consensual creative choices made with your content, and the results are inconsistent and subjective and not what you would expect from a standard process that's applied to everything that gets uploaded to this part of YouTube.
Exactly. And all of that is factual. All of that is absolutely true. And all of that is a big problem. However, there's an elephant in the room that I couldn't ignore the moment that I learned about this and thought about it. It didn't take me more than about 10 seconds to go, oh, perhaps this is part of the equation as well. And here's my theory. My theory is that introducing this is not. It may be cost effective. It may be cutting some corners and saving a few cents here and there. However, I don't think that is the be-all, end-all of beginning to introduce these AI artifacts into existing authentic videos that are purely human-made, that are made on equipment like the equipment we use. We use, high quality, but just webcams. It's not like I have, shutter speeds I'm messing with. I record into very, I record into OBS, which is, a robust program. It's a good program. Obviously, we wouldn't have the subscribers and the traction that we have if our videos looked like shit, and our audio has always been spectacular, but we're using very basic stuff. And we don't need much help. But by introducing these artifacts, our authentic looking videos begin to look, a little bit more, maybe a little bit more produced, or maybe there's these uncanny valley things happening with certain things in frame that look like they're fake or hyper real to the point where you're like, as we've discussed. So my theory is that by introducing these AI artifacts into authentically made content, it blurs the line going forward. And what this does is it opens the door, especially to people my kids' age or younger, who are watching lots of content across multiple platforms as this AI upscaling, as it's called, begins to take hold across, the entire computing universe, because there's no doubt this is going to happen. It will blur the lines to the point where even if you're watching authentic content, it'll have that AI glaze over it, so that when you're watching something that is purely faked or is purely, being created for nefarious reasons, or to rip somebody off, or to just cash grab by making lots of quick content, that's completely AI generated, that will get all the clicks and generate revenue for the creator. What this does right now, I feel like it's the introduction of getting our brains used to seeing this shit, so that we won't be able to tell the difference in 5 years. So that it won't be because AI has become so good. It's because AI is going to drag us down into its mud, and then we're all in this stew together, and it becomes more and more difficult, especially for young people. They're not targeting us. They're not targeting Gen Z or millennials. This is the kids who are watching this stuff. As they consume these things, they won't be able to tell the difference. And that is my thought. And I think that is disgusting. I'm just going to come out and say it, because it's unnecessary. We've had no problems for 15 years or however many years of lots of content. When YouTube came into its own, it abandoned the time limits and everything else, and then it became a fully fledged thing. There haven't been issues. There's not problems, and I'm sure that it's not saving them much money. I feel like this is more to prepare us for a future where there will be no discernible difference between the video I'm making right now and something that some guy, does a bunch of captures of my videos and then could create a video of me, and people would see it side by side and be like, oh, well, look, they look the same. What is your thought about my conspiracy theory there?
I I don't even think it should be painted with the brush of a conspiracy theory, just because it's closer to Occam's razor. I mean, it makes the most sense. I don't really buy the whole argument about the money saving thing. I don't think that, AI technology is not an efficient technology in terms of resources and power and processing needed to do it. So I don't really buy the argument that it's more efficient or resource saving or cost saving. And if it is, it's probably negligible. This is using a blunt instrument standardized process on everyone's content is very straightforward, and something that could surely be optimized further, just with less processing power than it takes to run AI. So first off, I don't really buy that argument to begin with. And with that said, what makes the most sense? What will save them more money than tweaking a processing algorithm? Well, not having to pay creators, not having to support the the creators who are actually funneling content and making the tool work. If you can just replace that with AI, then and fool everybody to to normalize it and have it look normal to people, as you said, especially younger people coming in who that look will be native to, which is incredibly insidious and manipulative.
Yes.
I think that's the much more plausible, realistic, pragmatic motive here. We know that all of these online streaming platforms are desperate for any kind of revenue they can get, desperate to demonstrate that they have a viable revenue model. And so little tweaks to processing videos is not remotely going to be how they get to that. It's fundamentally changing the model in a way that is much more friendly to their revenue and much less friendly to anyone who is dividing up that revenue with them. That's what is most realistic and most plausible here. And so I think your theory is spot on. I think the normalizing of AI, it seems to be getting pushed from every corner. And I don't think there's any realistic reason to believe that YouTube is gregariously opting out of that. And so I'm completely on board with what you're saying. And I think it's something that the red flags need to be raised about.
Yeah, I also just want to raise awareness, because I know that we have a lot of we have a loyal following of people who've been with us since the beginnings of the channel, when things, maybe the tech was even lower tech than it is now. And mainly just because I finally figured out how to light things, and stuff like that. And I bought a couple better cameras.
Likewise.
Yeah, you're looking great today, by the way. And so But what I was going to say is, I want to kind of throw it out there. If you see something in my shorts, because right now I don't think they're doing this on long form. I don't think they have the wherewithal or the ability yet, or they're experimenting with the shorts, because the shorts are easy to manipulate. They're tiny, as far as the how they're uploaded. They're uploaded in a different way than the way that we upload long form videos. It's all coming off of iPhones usually, and so it's a lot easier for them to go in and just start painting a broad brush across those, because they're much smaller and easier to manage as far as file size and things like that. So I just wanted to say, if you see one of my shorts and you're kind of like, whoa, that looks weird, I didn't do it, man. I didn't do it, because I saw one of mine, and like I said, I was wearing the glasses, which I do wear upon occasion. I don't have non-glare lenses, otherwise I'd wear them on camera more often. However, I saw it and I was just like, wow, that looks really weird. And, and there's nothing, and as of my understanding of all this, there is no opt-in, there is no opt-out. It's the way forward. It looks like YouTube's just going to continue to do this. This is what is happening. It is a choice that they have made. There's nothing in the licensing agreements or anything like that. I haven't received an email saying, do you approve or accept the fact that we're going to be using AI technology? But the funny part is, when you upload a short or you upload a video, YouTube asks you, they're like, is there any AI generated content in this video? Because people need to know. Yet, they're putting AI generated content into my video that does not have AI generated content. So it's just...
And presumably that means they're using your content in their modeling. I would find it hard to believe that they would just be doing this one way without actually pulling all of these shorts into their models for future use. So, another level of lack of consent or lack of awareness for the creators.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a topic that, a lot of other people have covered. I wanted to cover it, though, as well, because I've actually seen it in my own videos. And it is something that of a theme I don't want to, Kevin and I don't want to appear to be like, we just, AI has no purpose. I think AI can serve many purposes. I think that in the medical fields and many other areas, troubleshooting technology being used as a way to come to a solution quicker in, like for controlling a power plant or something, or there's all sorts of ways that AI can be used in very useful ways. I don't quite feel that it needs to be applied to everything, and especially to things that people are making and they're trying to make free of it. You know what I mean? There should be a choice at some point where you're just like, I don't want this iterative AI brush applied to my music or my videos, but it's going to happen. And I don't think there's anything that we can really do to stop it, except just make people, it's got to be awareness, and you just have to keep your eyes and your ears sharp, when you're watching things, because, that uncanny valley, we're not fully in there yet. And I keep telling my kids, like when they show me stuff sometimes, and I'm just like, that's fake, and I just try to keep them aware that they need to be on their toes. We all need to be on our toes, and try to, as much, like we talk about here on the channel all the time, let's just try to support authenticity by begetting more authenticity and encouraging authenticity. And that's all we can do. There's nothing else we can do except just do these things for real and encourage others to do the same. Kevin, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I think you're right on the money, and it has been encouraging to see some cases of lawsuits starting to come up. Some rights holders and rights holding organizations have started some legal pushback on some of the larger AI tools out there, copyright infringement and so forth. And so I'm hoping that the combination of sort of the critical mass of regular people's opinions and feedback and resistance and supporting the authentic options that are available will result in more of that top-down pressure on AI and just get it out of the business of replacing creative human beings. There's AI is marketed as being there to solve the world's problems. Well, this isn't a problem. This isn't something that needs solving. This is versus using, burning up people's lives and livelihoods for, the sake of refining a product. And it's really not what the product is there for. So, yep, if we all support what's real and what's authentic, hopefully we can steer it in the direction of being used in ways that are ethical and that actually address needs in society instead of replacing something that's already working great.
Precisely. I couldn't have said it any better myself. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you've made it this far, please hit like and subscribe. Shares are greatly appreciated. And the comment section. What do you think about this? This is a serious issue, and this issue is going to be applied to all media eventually. I mean, unless people just push back. And I don't even know if the pushback will do it, but we need to be aware, and we do need to try to fight it somehow. All right. You take care, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.